Hi guys, this is another abs workout session, and I will do it as day number 57 in my training journey. So just get to it. Today is Saturday, 22nd of August 2026. Let's go.
Luka just took the entire Lakers roster to his home country Slovenia for an off-season minicamp, and reportedly he's going all out with it. A charter plane, authentic Slovenian gifts for every player, planned dinner at one of his favorite restaurants, fishing, sightseeing, golf, and of course basketball workouts. To me, this points to much more than just getting some shots up before the season. And this actually makes a lot of sense once you look at what other European and non-European NBA stars have been doing. Well, the most obvious reason all of this is happening is that the Lakers team genuinely needs to get to know each other. It's not just that LeBron James is gone. Rui Hachimura, DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Smart, Luke Kennard, and Jackson Hayes are gone too. And 9 players are entering their first season with the Lakers. That includes Walker Kessler, Quentin Grimes, Jaden Hardy, Colin Sexton, Sandro Mamukelashvili, Kevon Looney, Matisse Thybulle, Zaire Williams, and rookie Cameron Carr. So basically half the roster is new. There are some guys who already know each other. For example, Hardy and Grimes have played with Luka before at the Mavs. But collectively, this is a completely new team being built around Doncic and Austin Reeves. And since the official training camp is still weeks away, getting all these guys together early makes a lot of sense. The more interesting part is that Luka isn't just showing up for this. He's the guy organizing the whole thing, which is kind of interesting considering who had this role in this team before. Because for the first time since Luka got to Los Angeles, LeBron isn't there anymore. And whatever he thought about their basketball fit, Luka walked into a team where the hierarchy, especially when it comes to the locker room, was already established. I'm sure most of you remember what LeBron literally told him in his very first Lakers game. So I guess with Braun, Luka could just be Luka, control the offense, and slowly settle into this franchise. All while learning from one of the most experienced leaders in NBA history next to him. Now that period is gone, and Luka needs to step up as a true leader for the Lakers off the court too. See, LeBron also had a history of organizing these off-season Lakers gatherings himself, so somebody had to take that specific responsibility over. And one of Luka's first major moves after LeBron left is basically, everyone come to my country, I got it. He's already acting like the guy who's supposed to bring the Lakers together. But being the best player on the floor and actually leading a locker room are two different things. Luka never had any problem being the basketball leader. You would just give him the ball and then everyone else naturally falls into their role around him. That was the case with the Mavs, the Slovenian national team, and even with the Lakers. But now the Lakers are also letting him influence what their roster looks like. Apparently Luka was pushing hard for that Walker Kessler trade. LA ended up giving Utah unprotected first round picks in 31 and 33 plus swap rights in 28 and 30, which is a massive bet on a player Luka apparently wanted next to him. They also committed with long-term contracts to AR, Grimes, and Mamu this summer. So Luka now has a roster that's very clearly built around his wants and needs. The next step, of course, will be actually making those pieces work together. And instead of waiting for training camp to start figuring that out, Luka is already trying to build those relationships himself. I also think doing it in Slovenia specifically is actually a pretty smart way for him to lead organically. As in, without trying to become some completely different personality overnight. Because Luka could have easily copied the usual NBA formula by just booking a gym in Vegas or LA, but that's not Luka. Instead, he made this whole thing both personal and intriguing. His country, his hometown, his favorite restaurant, fishing, golf, all the fun stuff. I saw one of the reporters comparing this plan to a bachelor trip. Not gonna lie, that's actually funny. But what Luka is doing is genius. Because most of these guys haven't been teammates, and now he gets to host them for 5 days. Not just hosting them, but also showing them a side of himself they would never see inside the NBA environment. Again, this way he just doesn't need to replicate some LeBron-style leadership persona. And there are actually a couple of really good examples of players saying that trips just like this one changed how they viewed their teammates. But I'll get to those in just a second. Now let's take a quick break because I really want to tell you about today's sponsor, Party. Like genuinely, I'm impressed and I think you should know about it. I'm sure by now all of us know that we all should be wearing sunscreen outside. But honestly, most sunscreens just suck. They smell bad, they feel greasy, heavy, and just leaves this white layer that makes you look like a literal clown. And that's why I love Particle's SPF 40 face shield. It's an invisible sunscreen that's really easy to apply. It goes on completely clear, and once it absorbs, it generally feels like there's basically nothing on your skin. The consistency of it is really nice, it feels light, and even smells really good too. At the same time, you're of course getting a broad spectrum UVA and UVB protection, and it doesn't burn or irritate your eyes, working really well if you're active or spending time outside. Just like me with my dog Suzuki right here. So check out Particle using the link below and use our code NBA20 for 20% off with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Alright, now let's get back to the video. Now I think Keontae George had the best reason why you should visit European teammates in their country. See, after his rookie season in Utah, he flew to Finland because he wanted to get closer with Lauri Markkanen. He was actually very specific about the how and why.
It helped. My communication is hard on the court. It was something I went to Utah, understanding why he acts the way he acts on things, just because of the environment.
So yeah, they worked out together, but he also met Lauri's family, saw his old school, and got a much better idea of who this guy actually was away from the Jazz. I don't think you can actually teach cultural differences by just talking about them. I think you need to see them in person. Markkanen later said that they went from basically being co-workers to being real friends. And also that he actually could feel the difference in how they communicated on the court after that. Another example is Aaron Gordon, who had a similar experience with Jokic. He spent days in his hometown Sombor, saw the horses, the lake house, restaurants, and just normal Jokic life.
Then he just races his horses, man. He rides his bike through town. He rides a bike through town. He's gangster.
Later he talked about how seeing that environment helped him understand where Jokic's calm personality comes from. And basically, that's the opportunity he's giving all these Lakers players at once. And Luka isn't the only European superstar using his home as part of team building this offseason. Right after Giannis got traded to Miami this summer, the team's point guard Davion Mitchell quickly realized he had a new superstar teammate. So one of the very first things he did was getting Giannis' number and arranging a workout session with him in Greece. Mitchell basically said he wanted to start building chemistry ASAP. Giannis was staying in Greece, so Davion just went there and worked out with him in this modest-looking Greek gym. Then you have Wemby, who invited a big group of Spurs players and coaches to France this summer for workouts and, of course, some sightseeing in Paris. I think it really shows the level of leadership from Wemby and the chemistry within the Spurs right now, which is what matters in Luka's case too. Getting the entire roster to commit shows that the teammates respect you already and want to make this whole thing work together. And the Lakers themselves have been telling us for a while that this is Luka's franchise now. Just last summer, Rob Pelinka, Genie Buss, and other Lakers people traveled to Poland during the Eurobasket specifically to support Luka with Slovenia. Pelinka said that they wanted to show him that they support what he does for his country, and he directly connected that to Luka being the face of the franchise. Lakers assistant coach Greg St. John went even further, spending around 40 days inside Slovenia's national team environment. So yeah, this relationship between Luka's Slovenian life and the Lakers didn't start with this minicamp. The organization was already making these extra steps to see him there. Now with LeBron gone, Luka is doing the exact same thing from the other side by actively taking the also incoming owners Josh Buckner and Bob Iger saying that he wants to meet them and start building something special in LA together. Again, to me, everything points toward Luka understanding that his job is much bigger now. And I guess he needs to take that responsibility because of how everything around him has unfolded so far. First, Dallas traded him without warning. Then he gets to LA. Mark Walter buys the team last year, and less than a year later, he already sells it again. Luka even said himself that he's gotten used to these big changes over the last few years. So in his mind, this might feel like the moment where he becomes the stable part of the whole puzzle. But of course, organizing a cool summer trip doesn't make Luka a great leader automatically. Now, in my previous videos on him, I've talked about what I think is still his biggest problem in that area. All those moments where he complains to the referees and doesn't get back on defense. Like, I know he's competitive, but when you're the clear number one guy, teammates are going to follow your habits, good or bad. Again, this camp is a beautiful first step, but we will see that leadership tested through the ups and downs of the season. I personally believe that if you championship the most. Now, what do you guys think? Can Luka replace LeBron's leadership in the Lakers locker room? And what are your thoughts about the whole Slovenia trip itinerary? Let me know all of that in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like and hype this video if you actually enjoyed it, because that helps our channel grow a lot. And also subscribe for more NBA Takes from Overseas Lens.
Neom promises a science fiction future. Once envisioned to be the world's largest city icon, what you have today is a project that is full of civilized neighborhoods. Neom was the centerpiece of the ambitious plan to pivot Saudi Arabia away from oil. Behind the scenes, the project's own staff was sent more. We've talked to numerous former employees of Satellite, financial documents. It's all to find out how and why the real purpose of this project is focused. And what was made for Neom. The centerpiece of Neom became the line, longer than the state of Connecticut. It had over 7 billion square feet. That is more than the combined square footage of every single building in New York City. It is a pair of twin skyscrapers taller than the Empire State Building that run continuously, except for a chunk where they tunnel through the mountains, and it would have 9 million people. MBS wanted this to be like nothing the world had ever seen before. He repeatedly told his staff he wanted zero gravity architecture that looks like you're in space, where gravity doesn't apply. When I first saw it, my thought was, there is not enough money out there to do this. How on earth is this government going to do this? Surely there was going to be a reckoning. Over the past 9 months or so, that reckoning has arrived. What our reporting shows is that construction on all the major projects has stopped or is winding. We've talked to numerous former employees who have worked on the project, and the expectation by them and many others is that this project would be too costly to restart for any of the major projects. We reached out to Neom to comment on the project's current development status, but we didn't get a response. Yasser Al-Rumayyan, the head of Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, the Sovereign Wealth Fund, has said that
Yes, that's a training session for today. I just cannot go outside. It's raining very hard out there, so just staying home and training my abs. It's very good. So thanks so much for watching my videos. I wish you guys all the best in your own training journeys. See you next time. Peace out.